we're gonna make a lasagna. I tell you what, I absolutely love me a lasagna. This one is going to have a mix of beef mince and pork mince. We're going to make a beautiful roux-based cheese sauce, and then we're going to whack it all together with some lasagna sheets. And then it's just going to be the most perfect, delicious, beautiful dish. I mean, who doesn't
like lasagna?
It's one of the best things ever invented. Period. So let's get into the recipe.
So this recipe is a combination of two components, the cheese sauce and then the beef and pork bolognese. So let's get into that. We're going to kick things off by infusing some whole milk. So place 1 litre of whole milk into a saucepan along with a bulb of garlic that's been cut in half, 10 dried bay leaves and 1 teaspoon of black peppercorns. We're going to place this on a medium heat and then bring this up to a boil. Once it's boiled, just remove it from the heat and leave it to one side to infuse.
We're just going to leave that milk to infuse for a bit while we make our bolognese sauce. This is going to be damn good. So let's get on to making our
sofrito.
The sofrito is basically the base of what we're going to build the sauce on top of. It's onion, celery and carrot. So let's get into that.
Let's go!
Top and tail, 500 grams of celery, cut them into quarters lengthways and then finely dice. Place all of that celery into a bowl while we prepare the rest of the vegetables. Top, tail and peel 425 grams of carrots, and then you're going to cut them into batons and then cut those batons into a dice. Roughly the same size as the celery, and then you're going to chuck that into the same bowl with the celery. Roughly dice yourself 3 medium white onions, and then once again you're going to put that in the same bowl with the carrot and the celery. And now we're going to get on to pulling together the bolognese. Grab yourself a large pan and place it over a high heat. Once it's come up to temperature, you are going to throw in 500 grams of 20% fat beef mince along with 500 grams of pork mince. We're just going to let this sit for about 3 to 4 minutes until it starts to brown on the bottom. Once it has, you can start agitating it and moving it around in the pan. Just make sure as you do, you break it up. A lot of moisture is going to come out. Just keep cooking this until all the moisture's gone and your mince starts to brown nicely. Once it has, remove it from the pan with a slotted spoon, being sure to leave some of the fat in the pan because we're going to use that to cook with the vegetables. What you'll notice is there's a beautiful fond on the bottom of the pan. Don't worry about that, just go straight in with all of your diced vegetables and immediately hit that with some salt. That's going to help break down the fibres in the vegetables. And now you're going to mix these, and as you cook them, some moisture is going to come out of the vegetables. So you can just start scraping the fond off the bottom of the pan. That's releasing all of that delicious, beautiful flavour. Once your vegetables are starting to look nice and translucent, and by that I mean the onions are starting to look nice and translucent, go in with 450 millilitres of quality beef stock. Allow that beef stock to reduce by half, and once it has, you're going to reintroduce all of the meat. Mix that through thoroughly, and then once that's all mixed through, you're going to go in with 800 grams of high quality tinned chopped tomatoes, followed by 120 grams of tomato puree. You're also going to go in with 10 grams of fresh rosemary and 10 grams of fresh thyme that's been tied up with some butcher's twine for easy removal later. Chuck in 6 dried bay leaves, get that all in mix, and then we're going to shift this over to a low heat and simmer this gently while we make our cheese sauce.
So the bolognese sauce is ready to go. While that simmers away on the stove, let's make the cheese sauce.
So that milk that we infused earlier, we're just going to strain that off, discarding any of the aromats but keeping all the milk to make the cheese sauce with. We are also going to grate our cheese now, so that's 200 grams of Parmesan Reggiano and 400 grams of extra mature cheddar, and then just place that in a bowl to one side. So, grab yourself a large saucepan, place it onto a low to medium heat and melt 100 grams of unsalted butter in there. Once melted, you're going to throw in 100 grams of plain flour, whisking vigorously, and then you're going to have a paste. This is your roux, and we're going to cook this roux out for 1 to 2 minutes, being sure not to burn. You're just going to continue whisk while doing that. After 1 to 2 minutes, we're going to start incorporating the mix. So you're going to want to slowly pour it in while constantly whisking. And basically the goal here is to just continually pour the milk ever so slowly while you whisk and whisk and whisk and whisk and whisk. And what you're going to get is hopefully a very smooth bechamel sauce. And then before adding the cheese, you're just going to reserve about 100 grams to one side for later use. Once you've done that, just throw all of your cheese into the bechamel sauce and whisk this over a low heat until all the cheese is fully incorporated and you have a beautiful, silky, smooth, delicious tasting cheese sauce.
But I've noticed that my bolognese, and I can smell it there, but it's just starting to catch. I think that means it's basically ready, so we're just going to turn the temperature off on that, and that's our bolognese sauce done. Okie dokie, we have both of our sauces. We have the cheese sauce and the bolognese sauce. All we're going to do now is season these to taste with salt and pepper, and in the cheese sauce a bit of nutmeg, fresh grated nutmeg in there as well.
So, season your cheese sauce with a bit of fresh grated nutmeg, a pinch of salt and a crack of black pepper, just do that all to taste. I also forgot to film me seasoning my bolognese, but I also did season that as well.
Let's talk pasta, because basically there's fresh pasta and there's dry pasta, and everyone is like, oh, dry pasta's bad, you should make your own pasta, which is totally not the case, because actually good quality dry pasta is used in some cases over fresh pasta all over the world, mainly in Italy. Basically, with a dried pasta, once it's cooked, it's going to be a bit more firm, it's going to be a bit more al dente, it's going to hold itself better. So in something like lasagna, that is absolutely perfect, because what we want in lasagna is the pasta to hold everything together just nicely, you know? Whereas with a fresh pasta, it might not hold together quite as much. You could use fresh pasta, but for this one, we're going to be using dried lasagna sheets. High quality, obviously, that is what makes all the difference. You want to get good quality dried pasta. You don't want any of the cheap stuff.
Grab yourself a large baking dish, and now we're going to start layering up this lasagna, starting with the bolognese. So you're going to put a nice thin layer of bolognese on the bottom, and then you're going to follow that up with a layer of your lasagna pasta sheets, and then a nice generous amount of the cheese sauce, being sure to spread evenly each time. You're going to then slap some more pasta on top of that cheese sauce, and then you're going to follow that up with some more of the bolognese. I forgot to say on the first layer, just tear a little bit of basil in between the layers on the bolognese, and then you're basically just going to rinse and repeat this process, going bolognese, pasta, cheese sauce, pasta, bolognese, pasta, cheese sauce, pasta, until you reach the very top and everything is fully used up. You want to make sure that the last layer is cheese sauce.
The reason my pasta sheets looked a little bit more pliable is because I saw something online that said they're easier to work with if you parboil them. However, I did not have much luck with it. They all stuck together, so don't parboil them at all. They while they are pliable and movable, you might as well just break them up in the dried pieces to fit the size of it. Not worth the hassle at all. But yeah, I'll cover that in the voiceover anyhow.
Then we're just going to put the grated cheese that we put to one side earlier all over the top of our lasagna, and after that you're going to throw it into an oven that's been preheated to 180 degrees for 25 to 30 minutes until it is beautiful and golden brown on top. And after that, all we gotta do is let that sit for 10 minutes before we portion it and devour it. Serve up with some garlic bread and salad. Oh heck yeah, what more do you want?
Whoa, the house smells absolutely incredible. I've got some garlic bread in the oven right now. I made a salad. We got lasagna. I'm only going to try a little bit because I'm going to have a whole plate of food with the family, chill out and relax. You know, Sunday evening vibes. But you just got everything. You got like that creamy, delicious, beautiful, cheesy sauce. All of the bolognese in there. There's like chewy, crispy bits of cheese from the top. And you got the depth of flavour from the bolognese, and then the little fresh kicks of basil in there. The little al dente chew from the pasta. Right. I'm not going to hang around much longer because I want to devour some of this. This is bloody amazing. Hope you guys have enjoyed this week's episode. If you have, don't forget to drop a like, leave a comment on things you want me to make in the future, and subscribe to see future content. I'll see you guys in the next one.